Hello, Father.
Hello, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you. If you just state who you are, what's your name?
Yeah, okay. My name is Father Michael Duggan, Salesian priest.
How and when did you become involved with the family?
Well, it's a long story, but after the Second War, my dad had to go and live in Ireland. We had been living in England, and so my brother and I had to be sent to a boarding school, and we had the great good fortune to be sent to the Salesian College in Chertsey, near London, in 1946, as boarders.
When did you decide to become a member of the family?
Well, after I finished in university in 1956, I taught for some years, and then I went to teach in a Salesian school with a view to joining the Salesians. And so I taught for a year in Ballinkill Salesian College, County Laois in Ireland.
What does volunteering mean to you?
Well, I think volunteering is important because in recent years, as the number of Salesians, SDBs, FMAs and cooperators has decreased, well then volunteers are vital because they're part of the Salesian family and can enhance, perform our work, you know, with a great deal of conviction, sincerity and ability.
Thank you. In what way has voluntary engagement influenced your life?
Well, because I've been friends with the volunteers, anyway, for a start, and I've seen what good work they do, which I and others of my age are no longer able to do. They can relate to children and to young people more easily than I can, often enough, by activity.
Right, the next few questions are about good practices within the Salesians.
Yeah.
Are the trends in voluntary engagement noticeable from the first time you got involved and from nowadays?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm strictly involved, except that I'm working parallel with them. I heard of volunteers certainly for 10 years before they affected my life, because in recent years volunteers have cropped up in the parish where I'm now living. But before that, I know volunteers were on the team in the retreat house, which the Salesians in England run near Macclesfield.
Are the things that you've learned from the youth of today?
Oh, I'm learning all the time, right? And I think that the youth of today indirectly stop us older Salesians from becoming selfish or presuming we have all the answers. I think now we see great generosity in young people and great friendship, and which I appreciate a lot. And only yesterday I was at the pictures with one of them, a modern picture.
And are the things that the youth of today could learn from you?
Well, I suppose that there are. That's a tricky question, because they would be learning by example or by hearsay now, because I don't do much now except help in certain aspects of parochial work. I meet a lot of past pupils, of course, and I think it's worth mentioning that. They bring their children along, or their grandchildren, to be baptised here. Yeah.
The next set, as I said before, is about policy making.
Yeah.
In what way has national policy changed for the benefit of young workers as volunteers throughout your engagement with the Salesian family?
That's another hard question. Can I hear it again?
In what way has national policy changed for the benefits of your work as a volunteer throughout your engagement with the Salesian family?
Well, I mean, I'm not a volunteer, so I've done voluntary work. I've run youth clubs and so forth, you know, without pay. But I think it's the main way it has changed is to do with health and safety. And whereas before we could, you know, enjoy outings without any preamble or without unnecessary care, just the constant vigilance that all Salesians would keep on their charges But now it has become much more legal, and we've got to fill in all sorts of forms beforehand. But otherwise, children are children and youths are youths, and it's always, for me, been a pleasure to work with them.
Thank you. You've answered the second question as well, so.
In what way has Salesian policy changed for the benefit of your work? I know you mentioned that you're not a volunteer, but
Yeah.
throughout your engagement with the Salesian family.
Just give us the first part of the question again.
In what way has Salesian policy changed for the benefit of your work with the Salesian family?
Well, I suppose if we're talking about family, at first our schools in this country were all for boys only. But now they're, I think, all mixed except one. Therefore, in terms of family, we're dealing with boys and girls, and of course with their parents. So that's been a big change, really, and that only came in, for me, in the 1980s. Before that, the previous 15 years was boys only.
Have the changes in Salesian policy impacted your work in a negative way throughout your engagement?
Nothing would impact on my work in a negative way, okay? No, because each day is offered to God, each day is working with youth as best I can, age and condition being what they will, yes, but no, nothing would prevent me from trying to carry out the work of Don Bosco in one form or another as long as I could.
And last question now, is there a message that you want to give to European and or Salesian policymakers today?
Could I have that question again?
Is there a message that you wish to give to European or Salesian policymakers today?
Well, I suppose the thing is this, that there's two sides to Salesian life. There's the part that young people, families and volunteers see, which is the active part, and there's the equally, if not more important part that they don't see, and that is our union with God, our devotion to Mary, our following St. John Bosco, and each morning we renew our consecration to Don Bosco. And I would think that renewal of consecration each day to the Salesian work and the example of Don Bosco and the loyalty to the Church, these are the things that inspire us and would keep us happy and active in our work.
Thank you, Father.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah.